Welcome in Wednesday morning edition, Blue Sky Live here with you today. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready. Day before Thanksgiving, Ole Miss found out their place in the college football playoff rankings last night. Only one spot out of where they needed to be. We'll discuss that and more coming up. Thanksgiving, I don't know, whatever else. Some basketball, actually, probably. Over the course of the next hour and change with you here in this holiday week. I hope all of you are having a good one. Figure most of you aren't working today, but some are. University's open till 5 today. Kind of surprised me. Yeah, I didn't expect that. So anyway, Blue Sky Live.
It feels mean.
It does. It's a little odd. Blue Sky locations all over the state of Mississippi. Sweet Daddy's locations at most of those Blue Skies. Look, maybe you need something extra for Thanksgiving. Maybe you need to add a little something. They got sides, they got vegetables, they got meats. They can help you out there with Blue Skies lunch specials, $5.69, couple sides, bread, any size fountain drink. You know, for holidays, they'll even smoke those turkeys for you if you so wish on that. You just take it by, tell them what you want, and they handle it there with a lot of Sweet Daddy's Blue Sky locations. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
I am. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for my friend Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. And the rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around. Do what I've done, what I recommend that you do. Hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Guests join on the Campbell Clinic hotline throughout the day. A lot of content coming your way. Had a show last night where I opened up the Campbell Clinic hotline. From fractures, sports injuries, to complex spine and limb conditions, the pediatric orthopedic physicians at Campbell Clinic in Oxford are the only specialized orthopedic team in North Mississippi providing expert care for growing bodies. Visit CampbellClinicOxford.com to schedule an appointment or call 901-759-3111.
So, I have not listened to Henry's guys, so there'll be a little bit of overarching comment probably, but that's okay.
I just had live reaction to it. Just figured why not knock it out.
So they waited for the basketball game to end, and then
it wasn't bad. It was like 15, 20 minutes. Memphis and Michigan State were playing.
Memphis suddenly 6-0.
Yeah, they played well.
Rolling a little bit there for the Tigers. Also was a good night. Look, again, kind of like this a little bit earlier in the season, you pull for the teams you play. The SEC with a couple big wins in basketball last night. Auburn knocked off North Carolina, and Alabama beat Houston last night inside SEC action.
Two really good teams.
Yeah. Not a surprise they won games.
I mean, I've had people ask me about this. I said it on the postgame show. I'll own it. I don't like what I've seen so far from Ole Miss. Maybe they'll prove me wrong tomorrow. Maybe they'll
BYU 4:30 tomorrow.
Maybe they'll start to prove me wrong. Be good for my business if they do. I just not crazy about what I've seen so far.
No, it's looked disjointed. I mean, it's been.
I don't know that there's a Batman.
And they haven't replicated their overall shooting day since that exhibition that didn't count.
Yeah, they've had a couple of days where they shot it pretty well. And look, I mean, newsflash: when basketball teams shoot the ball well, they look good. But you're not going to always shoot 50% from three. You're going to have to be able to create offense. You're going to have to be able to create easy baskets. You're going to have to be able to defend. You're going to have to be able to rebound. And some of those things I just haven't seen enough to feel great about it yet. So we'll see. A lot of basketball left. Teams improve from November to March. So I'm not. It's why sometimes you hesitate to even have an opinion. But my God, we do podcasts. If you can't have an opinion on a podcast, then what are you doing?
It has to be a narrative where you can change and move and talk. That is the whole point.
Things flow. What feels true on November the 27th might not feel true on February the 27th.
Correct.
So let me be clear with that. I'm not saying they suck. That's not what I'm saying. And so in the event that they have a great season, what drives me a little nutty is, well, you said there's not. No, I didn't. I didn't like the way their season started at the beginning. I'm not crazy about what I've seen so far. But they're going to play in San Diego against BYU. They're either going to play NC State or Purdue.
Two good games.
We're going to find out a little bit more. Maybe they'll rise to the occasion. Maybe some things get solved. He's a very good coach. Things might develop over time. It's a lot of new faces. Basketball is a chemistry game, literally. So chemistry will probably develop over the course of time, and we'll see what happens.
The Ole Miss women with another huge opportunity today. They are playing in the Baja Mar final against UConn today. I think 6:30 on that one. It's on Flow Sports, but I mean that seriously this time. It's actually on Flow Sports. That is the correct channel for Gino and the Huskies. They're against the Rebels. Their schedule has been really odd. They beat the hell out of Boston College yesterday to get to the final, but they will have played USC, UConn, and then no one with even a glimmer of any pulse outside of that. So it's been very up down there. Coming off that 1-point loss to Juju Watkins and USC in the season opener for the Rebels. So they're 4-1, 5-1, whatever it is. Play UConn today. Paige Becker is obviously the best player in the country there for the Huskies. What will be if they beat Ole Miss, the number one team in the country this next week, because South Carolina had their long winning streak popped. They got trounced by UCLA the other day. So the Gamecocks have lost a women's basketball game now.
How about that?
Yeah, Don Staley's Gamecocks. I think they got beat by like 20.
Oh, my God.
Got hammered.
Fire the coach.
You should, yes. That's it. That is unacceptable. Pat Summitt would not have lost by 20.
Never.
Didn't happen. Okay, so... And again, I'm sure you guys hit a lot of this last night. Ole Miss 14th in the college football playoff rankings. Let's get a couple things off the top. Number one, and I get that this is word salads and out both sides of mouth. I do not get a vote. I do not get to choose the ranking. I simply am trying to interpret based off the rules. That's okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not justifying. Okay. It says in the situation, little bullet point notes thing, that margin of victory does not matter one freaking iota. Not one. If you win by 99 or you win by 1, it's the same thing.
Okay.
Just because I know that's where everybody's comeback is. Well, but Ole Miss beat them by 24. I get it. I'm just saying, when you're making the argument with the committee, that is not the argument to make, because it literally says right there, margin of victory is completely irrelevant.
Okay.
Now, where they fall flat and where I still like it, I don't know, you can tell me. I think you talked to Michael Bratton again. The number one thing they're supposed to factor in, literally per their own rules, is strength of schedule.
Okay.
They are not doing that in any capacity whatsoever. They kind of admitted that, sort of. They use it in case-by-case basis. I thought Ward Manuel had a really bad night last night trying to explain this, because
it's a really bad format.
It's a really bad format. He's put in a bad spot. I will give him that off the top. He's put in a ridiculously difficult spot here.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get asked a bunch of questions and you use one justification for one scenario and go completely opposite in the next one on the other scenario, it gets cloudy fast, and you're like, okay, what are we even doing here?
Yeah.
This doesn't make sense.
They have a problem, right? Is that the leagues aren't the same. You have to do this group of 5 thing. You have to factor in the Big 12 and ACC champs into the 3 and the 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then you only have the 12. You have Notre Dame that's eating up a spot. So and now you have this. They're probably pissed at some schools, frankly, because last week was a little cleaner. And now you have a lot more mess.
It would have been a pretty clean slate had Alabama and Ole Miss just won.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd probably be in pretty good shape.
They'd be
right
at
now.
6 and 7 or 5 and 6 right now, and you'd just be sitting.
So when they lose and you have to start shuffling the deck gets kind of crowded, because you start getting into a lot of broken resumes, and you get into a lot of just sort of junk, and now you're asked to sort it. And then when you do sort it, for whatever criteria you use to sort it, when people start questioning how you sorted it, well, you reveal that, well, we were human and we put some stuff together and we just looked at some things and we had to do something, so we did it. There was absolutely nothing that they could have done. I'm not defending the committee at all. I think this format's broken. Dellinger has a big story out today where the people that met for 18 months and put this, they're like, it's beautiful. I'm like, it's not. It's a lot of politically correct stuff. It's a lot of stuff that me as a human, I don't like. And so, but there's nothing that committee could have done last night that would have pleased everyone. Nothing.
No, because you've got a couple things here, and I get the frustration. Ole Miss's best argument to be above Alabama is that metrics really matter, game control really matters, the things that essentially went into a BCS format matter, the things that in the past in a 4-team playoff the committee talked about a lot mattering, a lot of that kind of game control stuff.
Yeah.
Margin of victory not mattering really hurts Ole Miss in this argument, because Ole Miss's best argument against Alabama is we have the same record, and the teams that you lost to, we beat the hell out of.
Yeah.
That is your argument.
And Alabama's best argument against Ole Miss is you lost at home to Kentucky.
Well, that's the thing, is when you simply put team A, team B, and look at resumes, Alabama has the same 2 best wins as you, because they have a win over South Carolina and they have one over Georgia. And then they have a win over Missouri and a win over LSU.
Right.
So they have better overall wins than you do. And their losses are Tennessee, Vanderbilt,
on the road,
and Oklahoma.
On the road. Mm-hmm.
That, while that sucks in a couple ways too, that is better than Kentucky, Florida, and LSU. In theory.
It's the Kentucky.
Yes.
It's the Kentucky. I mean, I keep coming back to this. I said it last night, and I was just thinking in real time. And you just keep coming back to that. You just keep going back to that. They lost at home, and that's big, because in the SEC right now, a talking point is, my God, it's hard to win on the road. And it is. The Kentucky game was not played in Lexington.
No.
It was played in Oxford. Kentucky is, what are they, 3 wins, 4 wins right now? They're 1-7 in the SEC. That is their final record in the SEC.
They have 4 wins right now. They play Louisville Saturday.
They are 1-7. They're not going to get to 6. They can't even be a quality whatever. It's 1-7. It's a disaster. It is a monumental loss for them. It's also the reason, I think, if you listen to them, if you're Notre Dame, you better go win against USC, because otherwise that Northern Illinois loss is going to kick you out of the tournament. But that's where they are. And I get it. I get the frustration. I get it. But, man, at the end of the day, it just comes back to that game. And it's where all the people that are like, the regular season's been cheapened. No, it wasn't. No, the regular season matters. It matters a lot. And if Ole Miss had just beaten Kentucky, if that's the only thing you change, you give them a loss at LSU, you give them a loss at Florida. Change nothing else. Flip the Kentucky score to 20-17 Ole Miss.
They're like 8 today.
They're in the tournament. They're in probably where Tennessee is, right on that cusp of hosting or not hosting, but absolutely a win against Mississippi State away from the tournament. That's where they are. And that should be maddening, and it is. I understand that but we're better than these teams. I agree. I think if Ole Miss played a lot of these teams, they beat the hell out of them. But that's not how it works. And you knew that going in. And when you do this thing where, hey, we're going to give a group of 5 a bid just because, and hey, we're going to guarantee these spots.
Yeah, like Arizona State today is the 4. They are ranked 16th.
Yeah.
And they're going to jump to the 4.
I mean, there's a world where Texas A&M is the 2 or the 3.
There's a world where the ACC gets 3.
Yes. And so you
pretty easy world, actually.
Yeah. So Clemson wins.
And then SMU and Miami went out and don't beat each other back.
And you have some weirdness. Yeah. So you created this format. Here it is. Again, I'm not defending the committee, but I didn't look at what the committee did last night and went, that's abhorrent. I didn't. I just
Well, the weird thing we have, and I don't know what to do about it because it's a different sport, but we are conditioned when committees put brackets together to really focus on major wins and strength of schedule, because that's what we do in basketball. It's what we do in baseball. It's what we do in everything else. Right. So then we get here and you simply go, well, they have a better record.
Play a lot more games.
They do. Yeah. But you go, they have a better record, so they're ranked higher. And you go, well,
it's flawed.
Okay.
Again.
Because Big Ten teams are ranked 1, 3, and 4 right now.
I mean, look, if the SEC only gets 3 teams in this 12-team field, they have some soul searching to do about why did we agree to this?
Because it's the only way to get it passed. I mean, and it's a hindsight thing to go, you should have blown it up. But
they could have said no. They could have said no.
But you just stayed where you were. Then you're only going to do 2 or 4.
Well, they were going to get in it every time.
Well, you're going to get in it every time, too.
I understand. But you're in this, and everyone's frustrated about it, and this was predictable. This was predictable. in fairness to a lot of people who were in Dallas in July.
Well, it's
hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. In fairness to a lot of the people who in July in Dallas, and everyone goes, no, there's no way. I remember hearing them. They were like, this league's going to cannibalize itself, and they're going to get 3. Matt Moscona said it. Mark Schlabach said it. I heard a lot of people say it. It's going to cannibalize itself, and you're going to get 3. Because in this league, right, because we were doing this thing about, hey, Texas and Oklahoma, welcome to the league. Let me tell you what's hard about this league. And what's hard about this league is in this year even, Saturday night in Nashville's not a gimme. Saturday night in Fayetteville's not a gimme. Look at the games that happened in this league this year. Saturday night in Columbia, South Carolina, not a gimme. Ever. Saturday afternoon, late evening in Oxford, Mississippi, not a gimme for Georgia. Not at all. Saturday night in Norman now, not a gimme. All those things happened. Saturday night in Knoxville, you better bring your big boy pants. So you get that in this league. Well, we knew that. And all those things happened. And so here they are. They've cannibalized themselves. And you've got a whole bunch of 3-loss teams. And the committee's like, well, a 1-loss Big Ten team is significantly better than a 3-loss SEC team. And if they're going to use the math of 3 is bigger than 1, you're never overcoming that argument.
That was my point 2 weeks ago. If we're going to keep on this schedule, the Big Ten's going to host every damn first-round game for the end of time.
Yeah.
Because it's an impossibility.
So
at that point. But the point is, it was what everything you said in combination with that expansion. Because now you have 2 more teams that can beat you. You got 2 more things going on. You have these uneven schedules. And in the past, when you put all the math together, like last year, you did last year's bracket. And you went, well, look, Ole Miss had whatever, and they were ranked 10th or whatever. Yeah, but Texas was in the field as the Big 12 champion. So they had that auto bid.
Mm-hmm.
So because of the expansion, you've even moved another team out of the field because no longer can that team represent that conference. They're now in your group, which just took another bid away and took another bid away and took another bid away. And you're going on and on and on and on and on with it.
So in college basketball, you have net. You have these net rankings that really factor in. I've not heard anyone talk about net or RPI or any of that with college football. Not one time. And I always hear that in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I hear it in basketball where everybody plays a lot of games and really your losses don't matter. Well, in college football, very clearly your losses absolutely matter. It's not just wins. In college basketball, man, all you need is some quality wins. You need some tier 1 wins. You need some tier 2 wins. You put some wins together, some neutral site wins together, like, big win last night for Kansas over Duke. But that loss didn't hurt Duke at all.
No.
Duke didn't get harmed last night, not even a little bit. Michigan State losing to Memphis last night in Maui didn't hurt Michigan State at all. Big win for Memphis. It's going to be a big flashing light on the resume when they seed them, but the loss didn't hurt Michigan State. Tom Izzo didn't go to bed last night and go, oh, God, we're going to regret that one. Not even for a minute. They're going to watch the film, learn some things, go from there. It's the difference in the sport. And this is where I kind of question when the SEC signed up for this, did they go, hey, our resumes are going to look different than theirs. We play a different brand of football. We play in a different league. Look at Norman, Oklahoma the other night. I know you didn't watch it. You were getting ready for your marathon. You were asleep. Well, let me just tell you about it. They were 5-5. They were 5-5. They've had a disappointing season by Oklahoma standards. Sure. That's a proud, historic, tradition-rich program. They were 5-5, and that place was jam-packed. It was loud, it was rowdy, and they were hunting a win. Go back to the day of the Ole Miss South Carolina game. Arkansas is not a good team. Anybody who watched them early in the season could tell they were not going to be a good team. They lost to Oklahoma State. They flirted around with a loss to UAB. Tennessee rolls in. A Tennessee team that's a 1 win away from the tournament. A Tennessee team rolls in there on a Saturday night, and that place was jumping. It was jumping. That happens all over this league. That does not happen in the Big Ten. It does not happen in the Big Ten. No. I don't know whether it's because of the proliferation of day games. I don't know whether it's because there's just not as many programs that are bought in. I don't know whether it's because of the geographic travel and the league still feels sort of new in a lot of weird ways. I don't know. I've never covered it. I've never been to a Big Ten game. I don't know. But I know that this league this year feels more competitive top to bottom than it has in a long time. I do that. I tell you this all the time. I do that Sunday 10 weekend thoughts where I rank the league. There were weeks, including this one this past week, I got 1 and 2, and then I went, I don't want to do this anymore. This is impossible. I just lumped them. And the truth is, that's the reality now. Missouri, you don't go to Missouri and go, hey, it's a dub, babe. It's a dub. We're going to Missouri. This is a gimme. This is cake.
No.
Well, there are spots in the Big Ten where it's cake.
Yeah. West Lafayette.
Lots of
Evanston.
them. Yeah, there's lots of spots where that's a freebie. You don't have freebies in this league. Right now, I mean, there's like 2. And, well, there's not 2. There's 1. Mississippi State's a gimme. That's it. Nobody else has been a gimme. I mean, you take the teams at the bottom of the league, Auburn, this is a great example. Texas A&M comes to Auburn. Auburn's got really nothing to play for. A&M is playing for the national title. And you go into Jordan-Hare. I'm crediting Auburn here. What about a 4-win team going into the game?
They were jacked up.
The place was rowdy, man. I've covered a lot of games in that stadium. It's intimidating. They get going. They're all in. So Texas A&M goes there, and I mean, even if they'd won, they would have walked out of there going, "Oh my God!" But they didn't win. They lost in 4 overtimes to Auburn. Now Texas has to go to Texas A&M, and everybody's going, "Look out!" That's this league. That's not that league.
Because the winner of Texas and A&M is playing Georgia in the title game, right?
Yeah.
Georgia's in, and then
So, I mean, that's this league, and I don't know I don't know that it does not appear. I could be wrong. It does not appear that is being factored into these decisions.
Just not at all. They've kind of said that despite any of that. So
the one caveat I will say is that, and I've said this repeatedly, the made-for-TV shows don't necessarily reflect what's going to happen in the final rankings.
Potentially, yeah.
It's happened before.
It hasn't in the past at times.
So
yeah.
I'm before I just go scorched earth and have hot takes.
But the problem with that is to set that precedent, you're going to have to take a conference champion loser, and run them out of the bracket.
Yeah.
Which they said they won't do.
Yeah.
So that is the issue with that moving forward. But we'll look at that. We'll look at the bracket in a second. Citizens Bank, not just an account number, a valued member of the community. And now if you find yourself in the market for a mortgage, another reason to give them a try. Whit Wilson, who maybe you know in the mortgage space, now at the Citizens Bank, ready to help you with your real estate goals. Stop by and visit 902 Sisk Avenue, Suite E in Oxford. Discuss your options with Whit or any of their experienced bankers. While you're in there, check out their School Spirit debit cards. They donate an amount per every transaction to the local school of your choice, whether it's Oxford, Lafayette, or Regents. That's the Citizens Bank, PHILA.com.
You've had Wendy's Nugs dipped in sauce. Have you had them covered in sauce? Wendy's new saucy nugs. Take the crispy, spicy nugs you love, turn them up to 11. Choose between flavors like buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, or if you're a real heat seeker, try spicy ghost pepper only on Wendy's signature spicy nugs. I dare you. That's 7 delicious ways to try the nugs you already love. Pick a flavor, grab some extra napkins, and prepare to nug like you've never nugged before for a whole new way to nug. It's got to be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's. Had a hand raise guys solo last night. It was brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. You might have noticed that the weather's cooling off. We want to make sure that heating element's ready to go. Get in touch with the people at Comer and Southern. They will take great care of you. I'll have a post-game column on Friday. It's brought to you by Window Hero. From window cleaning to pressure washing, gutter cleaning, gutter guards, and everything in between, Window Hero has the experience, equipment, and expertise to make your property look and feel brand new. It's windowhero.com or 662-510-7077. We're also brought to you by Rustic Revivals. I have a MPW Digital Extra coming your way this morning at 11 a.m. So I have 4 guests on that. Brett Norsworthy, Ryan Brown, Taylor McGregor, Ben Mintz, all on this edition of MPW Digital Extra. Rustic Revivals is based out of Flowood, Mississippi. They build tables and other furniture by hand with locally sourced lumber. It's a husband and wife team of Josh and Ashley Pierce. They do fantastic work. Look at it on Instagram if you would. It's Rustic Revivals. And then go to their website, rusticrevivalsms.com. Go to Facebook, Rustic Revivals MS. Use the code REBELS20 at checkout. REBELS20. Get 20% off your purchase at Rustic Revivals. Also brought to you by Andrew Seago, Seago Wealth Management. He specializes in helping folks just like you come up with their retirement game plan. Whether you meet at his office in Collierville or prefer Zoom from anywhere, Andrew will help you figure out what's the best way for you to plan your retirement. It's rebelsretire.com. And we're brought to you by Grenada Home Center. They've got paints by Benjamin Moore, Pittsburgh Paints, Farrell Calhoun, flooring of any and all types, stone countertops, granite, quartz, window treatments, plantation shutters, whatever you're looking for, they've got it at Grenada Home Center, 1301 Sunset Drive, Suite H in Grenada. Call them at 662-226-3127.
Podcast is brought to you by Northeast Spark, the fastest, most reliable fiber internet option available. Whether you're streaming the Rebels or connecting with family and friends, they offer both residential and business packages, speeds of 2 gigabits. To learn more, register for service. That's anyspark.com. AnySpark, get connected, stay local. I mean, Clemson is sitting at 12. They're number one out right now. The other question you have, and I do not know the answer, is if South Carolina beats Clemson, do they jump Alabama and Ole Miss? Their resume would be pretty good, given where they have Clemson ranked right now.
Based on the comments yesterday, I'd say probably not.
They did say that as of today, they kept Alabama and Ole Miss ahead because of a head-to-head win.
Yeah,
that was why that was the one spot where that I don't know. Again,
that's them going, there's no one formula that settles this whole thing.
No, they're put in a completely unenviable position.
Yeah,
in every way.
Yeah, it's why I hear people just going, they're talking in a pretzel. I'm like, well, you would too. I mean,
because other people are studying every analytic and then asking you about that specific analytic, and you're like, well, yeah.
Unless you just go by one analytic. Like at the end of the day, with college basketball, with college baseball, they can just go, okay, well, you know what? We'll just use the net.
Yeah, and that's the problem yesterday is, like I said, the strength of schedule is listed as the number one requirement to look at, literally on their own fact sheet, and they just aren't. Like, they just aren't. There's no way you can justify that they are.
Well, because if you do, you end up putting 6 SEC teams in.
Yeah.
That is it.
So they just avoid that to the point of talking like a pretzel, because the two comments, and I get that I understand he came back and went, obviously that's not the full reason. Out of his mouth yesterday said that Clemson beat the Citadel.
Yes.
As one reason they moved up.
Yes.
The Citadel.
Mississippi State would beat the Citadel.
He then came back and said, well, we didn't drop Indiana out because they played okay for part of the game. So, well, hold on a minute. So margin of victory doesn't matter, but that you played okay for a quarter and a half kept you there?
Again, Chase, we all know the answer here. And this is why, listen, I blame the SEC. I'm sorry, I do.
Like,
you agreed to this. If you go by strength of schedule, the SEC is getting 6 in. Like, literally the top 6. Proof of my point, which is the league's really hard. It is what it is.
He was asked why Clemson ahead of Ole Miss and Alabama. And he said, well, Clemson slid up with some losses ahead of them by Alabama and Mississippi. They had a win against Citadel, obviously. Obviously, they're 9-2 with only 2 losses. The team right behind them have 3 losses. We just felt as a committee, as we looked at their body of work with 3 straight wins after their loss to Louisville, including back-to-back wins against Virginia Tech and Pitt, that they deserve to move up to the 12th spot.
HSC golfers coming at me in the stream. Look, at the end of the day, if you're Ole Miss, you have no one to blame but yourself because you lost to Kentucky. Period.
No, Kentucky is huge because it's the one difference you have with Alabama is that you have a much worse loss than they do.
You lost to Kentucky.
Again, quit looking at head-to-head and go resumes.
You lost to Kentucky at home. You lost to Kentucky at home. It is disqualifying. It is. And if you don't get in, that's why you did not get in. You can break down 1,000 other reasons, but that's why you didn't get in. If you eliminate the Kentucky game, you're in. Period.
I mean, yes, if you flip any of the 3, but it's your current resume, that's the problem.
But that's the one. Florida's got wins. LSU's a good program. Death Valley, blah, blah, blah. The Swamp, blah, blah, blah. You played Kentucky at home. You played Kentucky at home. You had to beat Kentucky at home. At the end of the day, not beating Kentucky at home is what's disqualifying Ole Miss from the tournament, period. That upsets people. Nobody likes to hear it in those words, but that is the reality. Alabama doesn't have the brutal home loss. And right now, Alabama's not in the tournament, man. They got to have a lot of help to get in.
Well, and then Manuel's screw up again on this whole margin of victory is not supposed to matter, and that's not how they're supposed to place it. But yet, he's comparing to Alabama and Ole Miss here. And I'm looking for the exact part where he gets into this a little bit. Hold on. Didn't expect Ole Miss and Alabama to lose those games. Blah blah blah. Close game. Blah 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 blah. They both beat Georgia. They both beat South Carolina.
And like Avery said, not to interrupt you, Avery said we controlled our own destiny. Even with the Kentucky loss, if you just go to Florida and win the game, you're fine.
Oh, you're like 6.
At some point, you've got to go win. It's like we talk this in college basketball all the time. This team has all these quality losses, and you're like, yeah, at some point you guys better win. And then when you don't, and you don't get in, you don't go, well, we did this. No, you got to win. It's sports. The spoils go to winners.
He said, with Alabama, there's the win over Georgia, the win over Missouri. They beat South Carolina and won at LSU in dominant fashion. He's got to quit using the dominant fashion stuff because you're just moving yourself into holes when you do that.
Yeah, he's not a great communicator.
Like, it's like,
just because you get a title doesn't mean you're smart.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if you're asking about two teams and you go, well, Ole Miss beat Georgia and South Carolina, but Alabama dominated at LSU. It's like, well, whoa. Hold on a minute. Hold on.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
I feel for you, HSC golfer. I do. I feel for you. I understand your frustration. Yes, Kentucky outgained Georgia. Had almost double the amount of first downs. They did not have more points, though. Georgia scored more points.
And I would be more with you on when you play mattering, but the problem is you're getting complete full credit for beating Carolina before they got really good.
Yes.
They're better now than when you played them.
And if we do
and you're getting full credit.
And if we do all the, well, so-and-so was hurt, and so-and-so was hurt. Okay, well, Sanders was hurt that game. He didn't play. He tried. He was completely ineffective. I mean, you can't do all that. You got to throw that stuff out the window. That's too much of that. That would be an unfair thing to ask any committee to do. Yes, man, I get it.
At the end of the day, you win or lose.
BetterHelp.com/MPW, my guy. I mean, Ole Miss outgained Kentucky. Is a 1-point win really that much? Yes, a win is better than a loss. Yes. Go ask 1,000 coaches, hey, you can play well and lose or play crappy and win. Which do you want? Give me the win, please.
It's what's so strong. I mean, it's what's so weird about Ole Miss's resume is they are going to finish 9-3, most likely with 9 double-digit wins and 3 single-digit losses. They lose.
Yes.
They've lost every close game.
Yes.
Now you get credit for blowing the other teams out, but
yeah, I mean,
but then at the bottom is what you're back to what we said a minute ago. And if I'm the SEC, if we're going to stay in this format, I drop the Power 5 requirement and I say don't play anyone.
Yes,
because 1,000%. He comes out again and like he was asked. I don't know what reporter did it. They don't have the reporters listed. On basically said, hey, why are you so focused on ranking instead of strength of schedule? Is what he was asked, or record instead of strength of schedule.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great question. It's one that we debate. One of the things we talk about is teams can only play the schedule they have in front of them.
Okay.
Okay, then. By God.
I mean, literally, if I'm every SEC school, I'm calling the Citadel tomorrow going, hey, what's up? You up?
I mean, seriously.
You home? What you doing? You want to come over?
Teams can only play the schedule that's in front of them. They can only play the opponents that they have.
Okay. And again, I mean, as for an Ole Miss perspective, the non-con, Ole Miss was not going to get punished for their non-con schedule. They weren't.
No, not at all.
They played nobody. They won all 4 games by 8,000 points, and nobody said a word. And they wouldn't have said a word.
From our perspective, if it was just about strength of schedule, we wouldn't be needed. You could just take at the end of the season the top 12 teams with the highest strength of schedule and put them against each other. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, like with Alabama, if they don't get in, don't lose 3 SEC games. They lost to Vanderbilt. They lost to Oklahoma. They lost to 2 teams that are going to combine to go 12-12 probably. Don't lose those games. Win one of those 2 games and Alabama's in. If you're South Carolina, that LSU loss at home hurts you badly. Because if you just reverse that game, they're probably in. And I don't, and if you do the metric thing with strength of schedule, I mean, let's be real. In our culture, if you go, these teams are just better, we're putting them in, and you put 6 SEC teams in and you disqualify 11-1 Indiana, good luck moving forward. I mean, you're not you got to figure
And
out.
I know there's more media attention. That's why, but we do it in baseball. We do it in every other
do.
sport. Ole Miss softball
But
last year got in at 7-17 in
But
the league.
nobody cares about those sports.
They don't. My point is, though, we do have a justification already with this league, with the country.
But nobody cares about that. They care about the two sports.
Because I think a 12 and 18 is getting into the baseball field this year.
Sure.
Out of the SEC.
Sure.
I think we're slowly moving down the line.
But
I get it's a different animal.
It's a totally different sport. The Big Ten couldn't care less. What do you have, like 4 Big Ten teams that care? Truly care.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, so this doesn't matter. And I'm Ginger at the end of the day. If you don't get in, you didn't deserve it. If you get in by some miracle, I mean, it is drop to your knees and thank the gods.
Yeah, we're discussing 3 or 4 teams that none clearly deserve it. One's just going to get in.
Oh, I told you. I'm different than a lot of people on this. I watched Alabama the other night, and I thought that effort was disqualifying. I did.
I don't disagree with you.
If Tennessee loses to Vanderbilt this weekend, I view it as disqualifying.
Well, they'll be out. They'll fall out.
And they would deserve to be out. You can't lose at Arkansas and at Vanderbilt in the same year and go, we're a playoff team.
And it's what's so weird about, is there really a nickels difference in Auburn and Oklahoma? Not really. If Alabama had beaten Oklahoma and lost to Auburn this week, they'd be out.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the same record.
So,
there is still a recency bias to humans making decisions. They aren't taking all the resumes and shuffling all the games in any order and then looking at them. They drop you harder at the end.
Yeah, I mean, so, like I saw people say, put Indiana against an SEC schedule. What would they do? Well, they'd lose a lot of games. But they don't play an SEC schedule.
Mm-hmm. And the committee doesn't even really admit they would win them. They just go, well, they're one loss.
Yeah.
Okay. It's whatever.
So we'll see. I mean, the SEC is going to moan and groan, and they have a point in some ways, and in other ways they don't. We'll see who wins the tournament. At this point, as much as Ole Miss people and Alabama people and stuff don't want to cheer for other teams, if it's Georgia and Texas and Tennessee, you better hope one of those teams wins the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
You better be cheering for the SEC moving forward, because if this
is win every game.
Because if this is the format, you need to go dominate this tournament.
Yeah, where people look up and go, okay.
Yeah, where it's told you. Where Tennessee beats Indiana by 4 scores, 5 scores, and you're like, yep, see? That's what you need.
Because, I mean, ratings take a hit, too. I mean, look at this. Right now, if this ranking were the bracket,
okay,
Arizona State is playing Ohio State.
I mean, I'd watch.
You'd watch. You like Dillingham. Tennessee, Georgia would play each other, so we're cannibalizing already off the top.
Get a hell of a number, though.
It would get a hell of a number.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana, Penn State would cannibalize.
Yeah, I would have no interest in that game.
SMU, Notre Dame.
I mean, okay. Sure.
Texas against the winner of SMU, Notre Dame.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a Texas SMU game, and there's a lot of interest there, Texas Notre Dame would draw a monumental number.
Miami against the Big Ten winner, Indiana or Penn State.
Okay.
Oregon against Tennessee or Georgia. You'd get a huge
number, and that would be an indictment game, in potentially.
And then Ohio State or Arizona State against Boise.
Woof.
Yeah, Boise's sitting there at the 4.
The group of 5 thing is a joke. It's a joke, Chase. And when you
but the problem is the Big 12 is the joke right now. They're ranked 16th as their winner.
Right.
Their league sucks.
It does. But at least there's something in that league. Like you can,
is there something, or is there a helmet with a decal on it?
Well, there's a helmet with a decal on it. But if you're going to have to take one from that league, at least you can say, well, at least they do kind of play somebody. Like Iowa State's a good team.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some good teams in the Big 12.
Because look, Boise would lose 5-7 games in the SEC, whatever you want to call it.
If they played a 16-game schedule?
Yeah.
I mean, the best case scenario.
But I am giving them a little bit of a benefit of the doubt playing Oregon to 3.
Sure. Sure.
Now, should they be the 4 seed? Hell no. I don't mean that.
Yeah, Grind says if the decal on the helmet would have been the hog instead of an OU, Bama
right.
would be all the way out. You're right. I mean, it should be disqualifying. And I don't think there's much difference between Oklahoma and Arkansas this year. I've seen both in person. Very similar
it's
teams.
humans in a committee, and OU still in the year one has some pizzazz, and that made a difference.
Yeah. I mean, I saw Oklahoma here. I saw Arkansas and Fayetteville. Those two teams are very similar. If Arkansas and Oklahoma played a game, it would be a close game.
Yeah, Texas is in if they lose.
Yeah.
They only have, they're fine.
I think they're in, period.
Yeah, I do too.
I think they could lose and then lose and be in.
Yeah. I don't think they can fall all the way out. I just don't. Again, we'll finish it. We'll see if they stick to this or they move it all around. Now, if I'm Ole Miss, Lane might have wanted to anyway. You need to go beat the hell out of Mississippi State.
Yeah.
You don't need a 24-10 win. I don't know that it matters, but it can hurt.
It didn't matter.
Indiana got points for staying close to Ohio State for a quarter and a half.
Yeah.
The dude said that out of his mouth.
They're just spinning.
Well, they played Ohio State for a little while. Well,
just spinning.
Okay.
I mean, again.
He's also a Big Ten AD.
He is. He is.
Which is where you get into problems, too.
Of course.
Humans. Who's the SEC representative on this thing?
You're a check.
That's right. Okay. That's right.
And knowing what I know of him, he's in there fighting for the SEC.
Yeah, sure.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
No doubt.
That is their job. They always
do.
do.
Very respected around the league. But if it's going to come down to math and one is less than 3 every single time.
Oh, that's a good point about Texas. They can only lose one more time no matter what. Because if they lose, they don't play in the championship game. And if they win, they play in the championship game.
Oh, yeah, they're safe. They're locked in.
Literally can't. That they can forfeit. There's nothing they can do to fall out. Yeah, I just don't mean. I know we're in this emotional time period. I just don't think name on helmet is keeping Alabama ahead of Ole Miss. I think it's overall resume. I just
laughing at Avery.
When margin of victory doesn't matter. I mean, I get it.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I understand the frustration. I do. I get it. I come back to one word. I've been saying it for months.
And you had avoided it. You had gotten around it. It was over.
Yeah,
one win over Florida, and we're talking about them being the freaking 6th seed right now.
I had the column written, and then you beat Georgia, and I erased it.
Yeah.
I literally deleted it. It was written. The lead was one word. Kentucky. I might have to break that out again Friday. I don't know.
Well, not Friday. You're not breaking anything out for 2 Tuesdays from now.
That's true.
They're going to beat State on Friday, and then they're going to sit there and wait for 10 days to see what happens. We don't know the answer to this till Sunday week.
So for Ole Miss to get in, Alabama has to lose to Auburn.
I mean, okay, there's not one game that has to happen, but a collection of things have to happen.
Alabama losing to Auburn, Tennessee losing to Vanderbilt, Notre Dame losing to Southern Cal. That would be a start.
I think it's at least somewhat relevant. Maybe you could get I think if Syracuse would beat Miami, it would help. We're trying to get the ACC down to 1 bid.
Okay, well, that would do it. Syracuse beats Miami. I mean, obviously, Purdue beats Indiana would help you. That's probably not happening. Well, we're talking about like 5 games, right?
I mean,
do you want South Carolina to beat Clemson or not?
Yes, Clemson's in if they win.
Okay, so you need So you're cheering for South
Carolina.
Carolina.
You're cheering for South Carolina in a close, ugly game that doesn't cause Carolina to jump you. Look, I get it's a fine line, but I think that's the answer. Yes, this entire season has come down to freaking Vandegrift making the throw of his life on one pass that he couldn't go again in 100 throws. Because he has sucked the rest of the year.
Yeah, again,
it's been awful.
Kentucky.
I mean, I do get your frustration. They played really well for 2 weeks. Like,
Yeah, I could get
I
like a
don't know.
Kentucky sweatshirt that just says Kentucky and just sit here for an hour and a half, and that could be the podcast.
But like, my point is, like, sports are funny like that. Like, they
Yes.
played really well for 2 weeks against Georgia and Ole Miss.
Yeah.
They did. They played a good game. Now, Ole Miss gave it away, but they still played a good game relative to their ability.
Yeah.
And then after that, they sucked. Just
They went 1-7 in the SEC.
yeah.
I mean, Kentucky lost to Georgia, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, Texas. I mean, they lost at home to Auburn. Hell, they lost at home to Vanderbilt.
Got dominated by Vanderbilt.
Got blown out at Florida. Blown out. I don't remember what they did at Tennessee, but they clearly lost. I don't remember the game. Got blown out at Texas. South Carolina blew them out at home. They lost 3 home SEC games.
I'm not arguing.
They lost 4 home SEC games.
They played 2 good games all year. They played 2 good games. They played Georgia really well, and they played Ole Miss really well. And then they sucked.
Yeah, I mean, if the football gods had dropped in and goes, all right, hey, Kentucky goes 0-4 in the SEC at home, you're like, okay, that's a dub in Oxford.
Yeah, I know. They played well 2 weeks.
Again, thanks to the people at O'Neal Steel. I'll miss you guys. We'll be disposing of these over the next few days.
I told our guy you want an O'Neal Steel cap. I think you would wear it.
I would love one.
Yeah, that's what I. That's what. Are you
O'Neal Steel?
Okay.
Y'all are the best.
Yeah. Oh God. All right. Let's see. What do I have here? Well, yeah, we can talk about something else in a second. Manthing.com, themanthing.com. That's in Madison and Brandon. It's the men's clinic. You can locate them at 601-607-7869. They want their patients to remain as healthy and as strong as possible throughout the aging process. They optimize testosterone, improve sleep, reduce inflammation, treating insulin resistance, facilitating a healthy gut microbiome. Now that my marathon's over, I'm kind of going full bore with a lot of their recommendations, a lot of their things. Again, first appointment, need to go see them. After that, wherever you are, they can help you out if you're dealing with low energy levels, no motivation, decreasing muscularity, and plenty of other issues. Again, themanthing.com.
We're brought to you by Arnett's Fine Jewelry. Black Friday is 2 days away. You're doing some jewelry shopping. Go to Arnett's. You'll be glad you did. It's right off of North Lamar Avenue in Oxford in the old Lammon's Jewelry Building. They've got everything you're looking for. They want to be your jeweler. If you're coming up this weekend, stopping by the College Corner, maybe to get ready for the Egg Bowl, maybe to buy a Christmas gift for the Ole Miss fan in your life, stop by the College Corner in the Oxford Commons right off of Sisk Avenue. More than 4,000 square feet of the best Rebel gear. Also 2 locations in the Jackson area and one, and you can also go online, collegecornerstore.com. We're brought to you by Argent Wealth, formerly Pinnacle Wealth, Argent based in Ridgeland, Mississippi. They've got clients in more than 20 states. They provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much, much more. It's myargentwealth.com. Also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you're trying to plan a trip that creates a lifetime of unique memories, get in touch with John. Give him a budget. Give him some parameters. He'll give you options that you probably won't find on your own. He's fantastic to work with. You'll learn that when you call him, 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. Get the beautiful, healthy smile you deserve at Corinth Dental. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures that will result in a beautiful, long-lasting smile. So schedule your appointment today. Take the first step toward a better version of yourself at corinthdental.com. Also brought to you by myperfectfranchise.net. My friend Andy Ludicky is a longtime college football fan, franchise veteran. He owns multiple franchises and businesses. He uses his expertise to help others find their American dream through a very thorough and free consultation process. So call Andy. Put your life and your career in your own hands. It's 100% free. You've got nothing to lose. It's myperfectfranchise.net, Andy at myperfectfranchise.net, or 404-973-9901. If all of this college football playoff stuff is driving you crazy, go get a beer from my friends at Parish Brewing Company right there in the heart of Cajun country in Broussard, Louisiana. They've got their simple goal is to make awesome craft brewed beer, and they do it Wherever you look for your beer, highly recommend Parrish products. They got Dr. Juice, got Ghost in the Machine, they've got Canebrake, lots of others. If it says Parrish, you can bet on it being awesome. Again, that's Parrish Brewing Company, wherever you get your beer. Also, don't forget, you can elevate your game day look with socks that financially support the Rebels. Every step you take shapes the future of Ole Miss athletics. Visit deadsoxy.com. Choose a subscription to receive the latest in Ole Miss styles every month or at an interval that best suits you. With a subscription, you'll get 25% off member pricing, free shipping, and a free pair of Juice Kiffin socks with your first order. Only 100 of these exclusive socks remain, so take the next step, upgrade your socks, and as always, stay soxy.
Podcast brought to you by the Declaration of Independence Center for the Study of American Freedoms, located on the Ole Miss campus, and aims to explore and examine the fundamental and founding principles of the United States of America. They offer an academic minor in freedom studies and scholarship opportunities for Ole Miss students that bring lots of networking potential. To learn more, contact Steven Scoltetti at freedom@olemiss.edu or visit independence.olemiss.edu. I see they want us to talk Thanksgiving sides and other things. They're tired of the college football playoff discussion.
My mom
is
my mother is blowing up the family text. Mom, if you're listening, I was podcasting. That's the reason I couldn't respond. I didn't.
What is she wanting to know?
She is.
Is it Thanksgiving related?
She's so you guys can help answer. Although I don't think you get a vote. I think Campbell and Carson have responded. So
okay,
it's done.
She's wanting to know what to cook.
Well, she's wanting to know desserts: pecan, pumpkin, coconut, lemon, buttermilk, bread pudding.
Okay, whoa. Let's do them in order. What do we got?
Pecan pie.
Hold on.
All right.
Pecan.
Pumpkin.
Coconut.
And I don't know whether she means coconut custard or what.
I know. So I was curious.
I know.
Okay. All right.
Lemon, and I don't know whether that means lemon meringue or lemon icebox. I don't know. I know these are all valid questions that I don't have the answers to. So I can word manual this for you, or we can just play along.
Go ahead.
Okay. Buttermilk, bread pudding.
Not buttermilk bread pudding, but buttermilk and then bread pudding.
That is correct. Separate items.
Gotcha.
Like Indiana and Penn State, even though they look exactly the same.
That's a good point. Yes.
She also has a frozen, half a frozen red velvet cake she's going to thaw.
So no chocolate in the entire.
Hold on. So we continued on in the conversation.
No chocolate. We just named 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 desserts and no chocolate.
There's no mention.
I know red velvet technically. I understand.
Campbell said chocolate pie sounds so good. Wait, hold on. I missed the first text.
Oh.
For dessert, she says, I'm definitely making a chocolate pie. I'm undecided about what other kind to make, so please give me your wishes.
All right. So I can calm now.
Yeah.
All right. So we started off with a chocolate pie. So your mother's chocolate pie, is that traditional meringue on a...
It's the whipped cream on the top.
Okay. So but a traditional chocolate, like what we'd expect, a normal crust.
That's correct.
But whipped cream on top, which is my favorite. I prefer whipped cream to meringue on top.
All day.
Yeah, I'm not a meringue person.
I could go...
I want it ice cold.
Yeah, I'll fight you about meringue.
I want it to have some firmness. Don't have a runny pie.
Right.
Yeah, you feel almost as strongly on meringue as you do mayonnaise or bananas.
So it appears that the winner has been...
Okay, let's do this. And we're doing it by...
So Campbell voted for... Campbell says, I love coconut pie or pumpkin pie.
Okay.
My mother came back with which one?
Because she's only making 2. So
Campbell asked if anyone else has a preference. My mother responded that no one has responded. Laura responded with she likes either. Everyone else must be asleep or podcasting.
So did Carson answer?
Carson finally answered and said, especially pumpkin. He goes, I agree with Campbell. Either of the other ones sound good, especially pumpkin or coconut.
That's not what your mother asked
she said,
for.
Just one, so which? And Laura said, do pumpkin. And she says, okay, pumpkin. It will.
So you're doing chocolate and pumpkin, which means you're doing the best dessert of it, which is chocolate. And then you're going traditional. Because I think you have 2 categories here. I think if you're trying to be traditional at all, you're going to have to do pumpkin or pecan. I mean, I think those are known as the 2 traditional desserts off your list. I mean, personally, I think I'm like chocolate, coconut,
I am too.
pecan. 1, 2, 3.
I'm chocolate coconut.
Okay.
Pecan is funny with me.
Okay.
There are times that a pecan pie.
You've got to be in the mood.
Yeah, exactly.
You do. You have to be fully in the mood for the pecan pie.
There are times that I have a pecan pie and I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever had. And then there are times that I will put a slice of pumpkin pie on my plate and go, I really don't want this.
In both those pies, I get pecan to a lesser extent, but both those pies are kind of like the perfect pies for Thanksgiving because you're probably not going to walk through Kroger and pick up one on March 5th and go, hey, those little mini pumpkin pecan pies right there, I'm going to grab. You're probably not.
No.
But there was a moment where if you're walking through a bakery and there's a really good chocolate pie or something, you'd at least get the thought of, hey.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. It's one of the funnier like moments I've had because I was pissed off too, to the point that I literally almost fought with a friend who was a Cardinals fan that day. The day of this Braves Cardinals infield fly game back in 2010 or 2011. I mean, it was really hot. Like it almost affected a couple of relationships that day. And
sports can end friendships.
It did. Ben Garrett called me though later in the day, and he goes, "I just need to talk to you for a minute." And I said, "Why?" And he goes, "I'm so depressed. I ate an entire chocolate pie." And he called me because he had sat down and his wife had brought in a chocolate pie, and he ate the entire pie in the aftermath of that game. And I went, "I get it.
Yeah,
it was a bad day."
It's the girl eating a pint of ice cream.
Yes, absolutely. I think that day is the day my MLB fandom completely shifted. I think that's the last season I've been really into a year. Red Velvet Cake is incredibly underrated. It's misunderstood. It's a great dessert.
I'm totally with Grind here. Red Velvet is the godfather of all holiday desserts.
It is a great cake.
I could not agree more strongly with our friend Grind.
I like pie more than cake, but if we're going to go cake, Red Velvet is way up there.
Yes. Although there is one,
I have no interest
a really moist chocolate cake with the chocolate. It's got to be. It's got to be right. Chocolate cake with the chocolate icing.
Yeah,
sign me up. That is so much better than the yellow cake with chocolate icing.
I'll
fight on that.
My only really nose here. I have no interest in your buttermilk pie. You're more of a lemon pie than I am. But it's November. It's not. Time.
So lemon is kind of like a summer shandy.
Yeah, give me that in May. I'm good.
Yeah, June lemon icebox pie.
And then I need a lot of detail on the bread pudding before I can rank it, because really good bread pudding is good.
Yeah,
but you've already had a lot of carbs and starches anyway. I get it's all dessert. I understand, but
because you've already had the sweet potato dessert.
Well, that's the number one Thanksgiving side dish, I believe. Unless I get dressing is what it is, but I think if you ran a poll, I think there would be an argument that sweet potato casserole would be the number one Thanksgiving side dish.
Over dressing?
Dressing is not everybody's cup of tea. I think more people like sweet potato casserole than they like dressing. Now, I like dressing. I'm good.
Yeah.
Because every family has the one person who does the dressing.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't get farmed out to whomever. Usually the grandmother or the aunt or the mother or whatever that knocks out the dressing.
All right, JM says if you guys keep talking about coconut pie, I'm reporting the show for public disinformation. Are we anti?
There's a heavy anti-coconut sentiment out there in the world.
Really?
Yeah, I'm all in on the coconut.
Same.
Sweet potato casserole is not 100%, 1,000% overrated. No,
it's you know what?
It's kind of a dessert though.
So when I was
sweet.
When I was a kid, it was my favorite thing at Thanksgiving. And as I've gotten older, and I guess I don't like as sweet. I don't like it as much. I still like it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be like, I'm not eating that. I still enjoy it, but it's not my favorite thing it's gone from number one on my plate when I was probably 11 years old to now it's probably fifth.
So what's your top three?
The meat. We're talking sides?
Sides, yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean meat.
Okay.
Meats.
Well, some people don't care about the meat. Dressing's number one. The green bean bundle things, they're number two.
But bundles, not casserole.
No, not
Keep
casserole.
Keep that shit so far away from me.
If it's got cream of mushroom or chicken soup, get it out of there. It doesn't belong.
Green bean casserole is the most overrated Thanksgiving side dish. That stuff is disgusting.
It's awful.
It's terrible.
Carson's cooking tomorrow. Carson's making macaroni and cheese. We don't usually have macaroni and cheese, but he's making macaroni and cheese to add to the mix.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like a new thing. Pretty exciting. I'm interested to watch Carson cook.
That is interesting. I added cranberry sauce to the poll just for traditionalists, but it's going to finish third. I didn't want to put macaroni and cheese because it's too popular of a side dish, period. It's not just a Thanksgiving side dish.
That's correct.
So it doesn't count in my voting.
Which gets into my really odd Thanksgiving conversation, which is we love macaroni and cheese. If you told somebody, hey, you can only have macaroni and cheese once a year, they would be depressed. If you tell somebody you can only have cranberry sauce once a year, they're like, okay, that's cool.
Okay, JM, here's where you have a good point on the sweet potato casserole. And I just said it's incredibly sweet and kind of a dessert. Think about this in real time a little bit for a second.
All right.
I mean, seriously. Pumpkin pie, traditional Thanksgiving dessert, right?
Yes, 100%.
There is a large segment of you out there that could not tell the difference between a well-done sweet potato pie and a well-done pumpkin pie. Or at least they would be so similar in families that you would be fine with either.
Yeah.
The pumpkin pie is sitting over here at dessert, okay? The sweet potato casserole is over here as a side dish, and it's covered in marshmallows and brown sugar and pecans or something.
Yeah.
And it's the side dish, while the pumpkin pie is just minding its own business over here on the dessert aisle.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a weird thing.
No, it's quite confusing. How come we don't do a butternut squash pie? Because that tastes very similar to sweet potato. It does.
Oh,
it does.
No. Because I tell you, I did that, and I get, well, it's not quite as sweet. Maybe that's the reason. Just tinker.
Okay.
Not as much.
That's the question.
I don't mind roasted butternut squash, though.
I don't either. It's the only squash that I like.
I'm fine with spaghetti squash is what I can't eat. Back years ago, I did that Whole 30 for the 30 days.
Yep.
And one of their hacks was to treat pasta but use spaghetti squash.
Yep.
Oh God.
Laura did that.
Made a carbonara with it that was not edible. Like it turned my stomach.
Yeah.
It was really, really, really bad.
JM says, I want zero sweet on my dinner plate.
And I know a lot of people don't want marshmallows anywhere near the sweet potatoes. I know that's a thing.
When I was a kid, I really liked the marshmallows toasted on the sweet potatoes. That was like a thing. And now I'm less that way.
Okay.
Significantly less that way. Oh.
I need a calorie count, Avery. I'm just making mac and cheese with homemade bechamel. Like, what did
I tell you about last Christmas Eve? I did a homemade lasagna where I did all the sauces. You talk about rich. It was fantastic. But you ate some of that and you're like, I'm not eating again until New Year's.
What's olive oil cake?
I've heard of olive oil cake.
Like not using olive oil instead of butter, but actual olive oil cake?
Correct.
What is the like?
I'm not sure, but I've heard about it. I've heard that it is outstanding.
Charles said his mom cooked dressing 4 to 6 times a year.
Oh.
I mean, there's some restaurants that I've gotten it in outside of Thanksgiving, but it's not something that
we all love it. Why don't we have it more?
Because it takes so much time to do well. It's a long process.
I mean, a bolognese takes a long time to do it well, and we still do it.
Do a lot of households do homemade traditional bolognese where they take the day?
I do.
Well, okay, but yeah, I don't know this.
Bring it to Oxford. Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But what is it? Somebody give me a definition. I need to understand like what I'm dealing with. I'm talking about the olive oil cake right now.
Yeah.
Dressing is comfortably ahead right now at 71%.
Oh, it's gonna run away.
Okay.
Again, that's my point. Why don't we have it more?
Well, because you don't not smoke a brisket because it takes you all day to do it.
Right.
You don't go, you know what? The brisket just takes too long.
I mean, a brisket's 15 hours.
I'm not going to go out by the grill and drink all day and make sure that brisket's.
No,
maybe that's it. The dressing's in the oven, and there's no reason to go check. And
you could fix a mimosa.
Good. Hayden with the comment of the day. We all love rivalry week. Why don't we do it every week?
I mean, but nobody loses Thanksgiving.
Look, I'm guilty of this.
Like
And
rivalry
again,
week, if your team
I do.
loses, you hate
I
rivalry
like
week.
Thanksgiving, the meal. I do. I enjoy it. I like the dressing and the turkey. I like the leftovers the next day. I'm good. All great. But yet at Christmas, you would be fully within your rights to do a traditional Thanksgiving type meal again at Christmas. And we don't. My family does not. We switch to steak and beef
We do too.
at Christmas.
Yeah.
When
And-
you would have every societal reason to do it again.
And some sort of a mashed potato as opposed to a sweet potato.
Yeah, we do twice baked, but
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. We usually do twice baked. Sometimes we do the homemade mashed potatoes that I got to be honest. Like if you told me I have a week to live, I'm having homemade mashed potatoes at least
you
3
really?
times. Yeah, love them.
That's your favorite
Oh my
starch.
God.
Really well done mashed potatoes.
Perfectly homemade. Yes.
Jonathan, dressing is a waste of cornbread.
Oh, no, I couldn't disagree more.
Yeah, Christmas has traditionally become now tenderloin, twice baked potatoes, some kind of green salad. I mean that sort of. I mean, but essentially you're doing a Chateaubriand.
Says my stomach loses Thanksgiving, I'll just have to see my mother-in-law. Loss.
No, Charles, I mean, he says our Christmas dinner is almost exact replica of Thanksgiving. There's a ton of people that do that. I do feel like it is shifting over time.
Yeah.
Less and less. You're getting a lot more beef now at Christmas. A lot. Frankly, it's expensive though. It gets really expensive.
It is.
My grandmother, because there were so many of us, we used to just make a ton of crock pot soups at Christmas and make it easy on everybody when there was a really, really big household.
Kendrick says, according to Google, olive oil cake is typically a simple one-bowl recipe that involves flour, eggs, leaveners, and sugar in addition to olive oil.
Okay. But what does it taste like?
Kendrick did not provide a taste description.
It gets really good compliments all over the internet.
Yeah, I'm doing a ham tomorrow if I can get my egg fixed in time.
Said it's a stickier cake, texture's a little gummy, and has a lemon flavor.
Oh.
Weirdly oily but dry, a little crumbly.
Okay.
The citrus cuts it, apparently. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I'll take your word for it. So ham tomorrow?
My parents are doing a turkey. If I can get my grill fixed. The spring thing on the back of my big green egg is acting up again to the point where I'm like this close to going, you know what, I'm getting a Traeger.
Are you really?
I mean, it's like in front of mind.
You ready to cheat?
Yeah.
You ready to cheat?
Well, here's the thing.
Just becoming a millennial, just going to hit the button on the remote and let it go. No pride in the craftsmanship anymore.
I mean, 5 years ago,
You don't want to go buy a tool belt.
5 years ago, this guilt trip would have worked. And now I'm like, when you do a brisket and at the end of the day, the brisket sucks, you're like, that was a waste of a day. And everybody tells me that if you do a brisket in the Traeger, it's going to be perfect.
You can't mess them up. Like I said, I've done this where I do the same guilt trip and I mess with Malloy all the time. And he goes, yes, I'm sorry, my food is perfect every single time. And I went,
see, I'm with Malloy. I'm more and more with Malloy. Like the other day, I mean, I had what were we doing? Oh, I was doing pork chops. Bone-in pork chops.
Yeah.
And so I'd done the sear and everything, and all of a sudden I can't get it open. And so I'm having to like pry it open and get it in there. I'm like, this is stupid. I don't want to do this anymore. It's like the third time I've had to replace the springs. So you throw another $200 into the big green egg, and you're like,
all of a sudden you could almost build the spaceship that the damn thing's made out of.
Like and so after a while, you're like, okay, but I could just get a Traeger and smoke some chickens in there, hit a button, and
it'll tell you when it's done.
It'll tell me when it's done in 4 hours or 6 hours or 8 hours. I'll go get it, and it'll be perfect. And everybody go, oh, this is awesome. Okay, I'd rather have that.
We use the Blackstone 200% more than the egg at this point.
Yeah. I'm using Blackstone
it's
tonight.
Easy.
Yeah,
and
we're doing smash burgers.
Yeah, I get you can't do the same kind of stuff on it, but you can get it up to 400 or so. Like you're not.
Oh, easy.
It's not.
Yeah.
Not terrible.
I fed an entire high school soccer team off of Blackstone.
But you use you do hibachi, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's great for hibachi.
They loved it.
It's easy. It's fantastic for hibachi.
I mean, at the end of the day, the goal is, can I get it done, and is it going to be any good? And if the answer to both questions is yes, well, then it's functional.
Yeah. Ice cream with cake, not pie. I've never really had ice cream with pie.
No.
I don't, because it's already.
Never even thought of that.
No. Yeah, I know. Red velvet is chocolate. That's what I said. It's a misunderstood chocolate cake. But I thought if we were having that many pies, we should have a chocolate pie. And we were. We started with chocolate pie.
Yes, we did.
And if you're only picking two, you shouldn't go to red velvet cake because that's 2 chocolate desserts.
What's wrong with that?
Well, it's fine with me. I love chocolate. But if you're feeding a larger group of people,
oh, yes,
there might be the psychopaths out there that don't like chocolate.
You ever met anyone who doesn't like chocolate?
Yeah, actually, my my high school girlfriend did not like chocolate.
That's why y'all broke up.
Oh, vanilla. Oh, sorry. You're right.
Is she living with a bunch of cats now somewhere?
She appears to be fine.
Really? Okay.
You're right. Never mind. Yes, vanilla ice cream with hot apple pie. Yes, sorry. That's Okay. My fault. I was thinking like chocolate pie or something along that.
Oh, ice cream on warm pecan pie. I have seen that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I stand corrected.
We're wrong.
Sorry.
Okay.
You win. Indiana belongs. You're good.
But I'm mostly a ice cream with cake person. The ice cream helps the cake to me because I'm not a huge cake person. So I'd rather have the ice cream to come in with it.
Avery doesn't like chocolate ice cream. The more I think about it, I prefer vanilla ice cream to chocolate ice cream.
To put stuff on it or just simply by itself?
In general.
Okay. I don't have a say here because I'm the psychopath that would rather have frozen yogurt than ice cream.
Kind of with you.
I just would.
No, you're okay.
Give me the toppings bar. And
you probably have more company than people are willing to admit.
Yeah. I know it's socially unacceptable, but I would rather have the froyo with all the toppings. And I'm pretty basic on toppings. I just want 2 or 3. But
I don't think that's a psychopathic take.
I want a little bit of fruit. I want some peanuts, and I want some sugar-free chocolate syrup. That's it. The other stuff's too sweet.
Yeah.
The sugar-free gives just a touch of bitter. Well, now that we've done that, G&M Pharmacy for all your pharmaceutical needs after you get diabetes this week. They can help you out. 662-236-2222. Oxford. They're on South Lamar, Holly Springs. Tyson Drugs on the square in Holly Springs. They can transfer your medications very easily. Make one phone call. They take care of the rest. They also have a walk-in clinic now in Oxford right under G&M. Again, that's on South Lamar. 662-236-2222.
I'll publish a mailbag in a little while. It's done. I just forgot to publish it this morning. It's brought to you by Art Hayes, Sotheby's International Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, put the power of Sotheby's to work for you as a licensed agent with Sotheby's and a supporter of all things Ole Miss. Art can help you buy or sell in your hometown or anywhere in the world at no charge to you. Seriously, so call and ask him how. 612-805-5929 or email art at arthur.hayes@lakesmn.com. Well, if picks up tomorrow, they're brought to you by Kaiser Flooring. Locations in Oxford and Batesville, Kaiser Flooring provides outstanding quality flooring products and installation services to residential and commercial properties. Kaiser carries the best in hardwood, laminate, vinyl, and tile flooring, as well as carpeting. Their goal is to offer amazing and durable flooring products and superior services to make your life easier. It's KaiserFlooring.com. You can also call them in Oxford and Batesville. I have a Pete's Pigskin preview to you today at 2 p.m., getting you ready for the Egg Bowl between Mississippi State and Ole Miss. It's brought to you by Meadowbrook Wealth Advisors of Raymond James. It's a full-service investment team based in Jackson, providing financial planning and investment management to clients across the state and surrounding areas. Ryan Geary and his partners are a local team that utilize the strength and resources of a national firm to bring their clients an impeccable level of service. If you're interested in a no-obligation consultation or you just want to be added to their monthly market update email list, reach out to financial advisor Ryan Geary with Meadowbrook Wealth Advisors of Raymond James at 601-368-2215 or ryan.geary@raymondjames.com. Raymond James and Associates Incorporated, member New York Stock Exchange, SIPC.
So let's look. What's the NFL schedule tomorrow? We're on Netflix or on Amazon tomorrow, right? Did I dream
no,
no. CBS, Fox, and Peacock.
Yeah, it's Lions,
Bears.
Lions, Bears, Giants, Cowboys, and then Dolphins, somebody.
Packers.
Packers.
Yes. Miami at Green Bay, 7:20 on the cock. You've got is that NBC and Peacock doing simultaneous?
Yes.
Okay. New York at Dallas, 3:30 Fox. Chicago at Detroit, CBS at 11:30 in the morning.
How thankful are you not to be covering a football game tomorrow night? I'm way up high on this. I'm so glad it's on Friday at 2:30.
The Friday is actually the best day. I don't want to. This is me personally, just the way my schedule works. Friday is the day I would prefer because I like having that Saturday off.
Yes.
But I don't really want to do it on Thanksgiving either.
No,
so
this
Friday
is
and it's during the day, not even late.
It's literally perfect.
We'll be turning everything off by like 8:15. I mean,
everybody gets their kind of their night stuff. You're going to get some night. Second half's going to be mostly at night. It's perfect. Whoever signed off on this, I love you this week. Thank you.
ESPN, school, everybody.
This in particular, yes.
2:30, ABC, Friday.
Perfect.
I don't know what the crowd will be. It was going to be huge.
It was going
Tickets were really hard to find last week.
And all of a sudden, they're easy.
Are they?
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's going to be great. I do think it's going to be a late arriving. People are going to go, you know what? We need to go. Let's go. I think that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll end up having energy. There's a lot of seniors on this team that have played a lot of big-time football.
And won a lot of games for you.
Won a lot of games. They just didn't win the one that you needed them to win. And I think that's going to lower it a little bit, but I think at the end of the day, there will be a lot of appreciation for these guys. I think it's going to end up being okay from an atmosphere standpoint, not what it was going to be.
I mean, you're going to have guys out there that have gone 10, 8, 11, 9, or 10.
Yeah. It was going to be one hell of a party.
It was. Because state sucks and the whole deal.
Yeah, it was going to be a coronation.
It was. You do have a Friday NFL game, Raiders at Chiefs at 2 o'clock. That's on Prime Video. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I am not tweeting as Walter Wick 70940. That is not me.
Yeah, Daniel Jones to the Vikings.
Oh, is that right?
Apparently. Stream says so.
Yeah, good for him.
I mean,
I hope he does well. He seems like a nice guy. And the Giants have a way of like not developing, not appreciating quarterbacks. Like the tail end of Eli Manning's career was
just out to pasture.
An abomination, frankly.
I saw Vegas has him as a lock, by the way, for the Hall of Fame.
I've told you that for a while.
First ballot.
I think he's an absolute lock.
They thought he and Vinatieri are the two locks.
There's an eye test thing.
There's a 2 Super Bowl MVP thing.
Yeah, but he also, like, at the end of his career, that guy could have demanded a trade someplace and probably made another run like his brother did.
Yeah, go.
And I don't criticize.
Perfect place for one last.
And I don't criticize Peyton for doing it.
Yeah. Eli wanted to be a Giant.
He wanted to be a Giant for life. It meant something to him. He wanted that legacy, and so he paid for that legacy the last 5 years of his career. He could have won more games on a different team. I mean, he probably could have won another Super Bowl on a different team. He was really talented.
Siskiy's in Atlanta still. Says they're in a traffic jam in the ATL in the stream.
Is there anything other than a traffic jam in the ATL? I mean, is there ever a day that it's not like, hey, well, today the traffic's backed up for 17 miles?
Yeah, I guess it was a few weeks ago. I guess Georgia played Georgia Tech in basketball, and Anthony Dasher, a great guy on the network that works for UGA Sports, and he was live tweeting his drive from Athens to downtown Atlanta in rush hour for the Georgia Tech game.
Oh,
because Tech's campus is not in a good traffic area to get there.
No,
and it was a little hairy going through that area.
Well, it was like the LSU game this year when Ole Miss played there. The game was at 6:30. I left Hammond like at 11 in the morning because I knew how bad it was going to be, and it was still awful.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, I'll go do River Road. Nobody does River Road. Everyone did River Road. I was on River Road almost the entire Alabama-South Carolina game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You mentioned that. Oh, yeah, no, we already said it. Yeah, Kansas did knock off Duke last night. I was looking last night. Blake Snell now a Dodger. I know we're all shocked.
Stunning.
L.A. picked up. Referred some of the money to later.
The Dodgers are fast making this where baseball's not going to be fun if people aren't careful.
They look.
You got to be careful with this.
They're late 90s Yankees without being the Yankees.
Yeah, like if Soto ends up with the Yankees, and it sounds like he's going to the Mets, but if he ends up with the Yankees and the Dodgers just have all the players, that is not good for the sport typically.
Ooh, last thing. Jonathan says, I don't consider dressing as a side, but the main dish. Now, turkey and ham are your main dishes.
Well, some people put protein in the dressing, like they put
But I still think it's a side, even
with oysters or whatever.
Are you putting it in its own separate bowl and eating it like a soup?
I've never eaten it.
Because if it's only going on the plate with a ham or a turkey, ham and turkey is still the protein.
Yeah.
I get it has in it, but
yeah. No, I mean, I view it as a side.
Yeah, I think even when you add the protein inside the dressing, it remains a side item.
Someone said something yesterday about crawfish dressing, and I was intrigued.
I need to know all the spices and seasoning because I don't think I want a crawfish dressing with heavy sage.
Right. But I was intrigued.
Because sage is what you're tasting when someone screws up the dressing. It's lighting your throat on fire.
Yeah.
It's like when they don't get rid of the absinthe well in a Sazerac. So
285 is like turn 4 in Dega.
Hope you chicken and dressing is what we eat, and it's the main, not the side. See, most people I know that have put chicken and dressing, they still have had other turkeys and hams and stuff too.
Wait, what? People put chicken with the dressing? Is it in the dressing?
Shred it and mix it in. Yeah.
Oh, well, at that point, that's the main dish. That's like meatloaf.
Well, okay, but it's like just.
But you don't have meatloaf and steak.
That's my point. Right. Is you still have a turkey over here. I mean, and are you really choosing one or the other? I don't know. I mean,
yeah, people do oysters and dressing. I don't, but people do.
For Thanksgiving, a salad is a side, but a salad can also be a meal. Yes. It depends on interpretation and size. Yes.
What did the Pilgrims have on the first one? What was the big meal? It wasn't turkey and dressing and sweet potatoes and green beans, was it? It was like a lot of corn, I'm betting.
I mean, we are honoring, you're like, I don't know. Christopher Columbus had to screw it all up. We took their stuff, told them the world was ending because the moon was getting whatever the hell it was. Like
he did drugs.
He's a bad guy.
He did some serious opium.
He's a bad guy.
That guy had a drug problem.
He's a bad guy.
He was a bad guy, but he had a major drug problem.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can just tell. That cat was gone.
Wildfowl, venison, seafood, corn, peanuts,
saucy nuts,
berries, probably gar, sunfish.
Oh.
Yeah, corn was likely served, but not in the form of stuffing, obviously. It was probably ground into cornmeal, boiled, and pounded into a thick mush that was often sweetened with molasses.
It's kind of like sweet grits.
Kind of, yeah. It's a 1621.
Yeah.
Neal, so
yeah. They didn't have a Traeger.
They did not. Wildfowl, though, goose or duck, were almost certainly the main course.
Yeah. Okay.
And the Wampanoag tribe gifted 5 deer to the governor, so venison was a significant part of the menu.
Okay.
Lobster, clams, oysters, mussels. Hey, I'm in. Like,
hey,
well, hold on a minute. Before you're talking,
hold on.
I'm good.
You doing like a Diablo sauce on that? What are we doing?
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I don't know what the hell. We'll wrap there. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Friday, 2:30 ABC. We'll have coverage. We'll have the MPW Digital post-game show presented by Realtree following the game from Ball Hemingway Stadium. Hope all of you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hope you lubricate or not, depending on what you need with, mother-in-laws and families and situations as whatnot. But hope you have a safe, wonderful holiday. Again,
more programming on MPW Digital today. You got MPW Digital Extra at 11. It's 2.5 hours. So if you just want to turn something on, it's really good. 4 guests. Brett Norsworthy. He joins Ryan Brown, Taylor McGregor. Speaking of the Cubs, Taylor McGregor joins. Also Ben Mintz. And then Pete's Pigskin Preview is at 2. Tyler and AJ McCarron with McCready and Siskey at 3. I'm going to try to join for part of it. No promises. That's at 3, and then that'll get us to Thanksgiving, and then we'll be, like Chase said, we'll be back with you on Friday afternoon as well. So take care. Happy Thanksgiving.